Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Exotic Astrology, and we have another amazing guest today. His name is Kṣaṇāti, as many of you already know, and he's an expert in astrocartography, and he's also very spiritual. We are just talking for the last half an hour, 45 minutes almost, that what are his experiences, and I was also sharing my experiences. So today, finally, we are going to discuss on Saturn Ketu conjunction, which is going to happen in the sign of Sagittarius from March, I guess, very soon. Not much time remaining for that. So we will upload this in 2 or 3 parts. So this is the first part that you are seeing. And Kṣaṇāti, welcome to Exotic Astrology. And he also has a channel, I guess. So I will pin the channel in the description section of this video. So you can please go and subscribe to his channel. And recently he had done a big webinar on Rahu and Ketu, which was almost for 4.5 hours, and many other esteemed astrological speakers were also there. So the stage is all yours.
Namaste, Bhabajeet. It's such an honor to be on Exotic Astrology. I've been following your channel for some time, and I'm just so excited to meet you. You're even greater in person to person than you are on your videos, and I really enjoyed our discussion earlier. And I just really looking forward to discussing this very powerful upcoming transit, which definitely needs to be noted for all of us.
Yes, yes.
As mentioned, it's in Purva Ashadha Nakshatra, which is in Sagittarius, about 13.2 to 26.4. So that's kind of the section of Sagittarius, which is for Purva Ashadha Nakshatra. It is ruled by two different devas. One is Varuna Deva, Shri Varuna Deva, and the other is Shri Japa or Shri Jal, which is the deity of water. And some argue that Varuna and Appa are also very similar. But here we're kind of somewhat making a distinction, saying there's a co-rulership, Varuna and Appa, which is also called Jal Deva. The ruling graha over Purva Ashadha is going to be Shukra, is Venus. So there's a strong Venus influence getting brought through this nakshatra. Now, Purva Ashadha is the archer's bow. It's two stars which create the archer's bow. So this is a representation of a spiritual and evolutionary shooting for the stars. Now, Purva Ashadha means the unconquerable individual or the indestructible character, like someone who is invincible, like someone who cannot be destroyed or have any negative effect or maya or illusion in their life. So this is a very deep quality here. Now, this is a search for truth. Purva Ashadha has to do with searching for the truth. The individual is looking for Sat, which is universal truth, or divine law, or divine knowledge. This is some of the strongest energy of Purva Ashadha Nakshatra, is the seeking of the divine knowledge. Now, Purva Ashadha Nakshatra removes everything which does not serve us. So as we get into this transit, get ready for things to be removed, because Saturn can minimalize and Ketu is mokshakaraka. So when you have these energies coming together along with the energy of Purva Ashadha, even though it is indestructible, Saturn and Ketu is creating vulnerability. And sometimes that Purva Ashadha shows the vulnerability that we might experience. Yes, someone with the highest evolution of Purva Ashadha Nakshatra is completely invincible. But that we all have different positions in Purva Ashadha. We all have different levels of evolution with Purva Ashadha. But all of us are going through this energy together. Now, Purva Ashadha, because of Shukra influence, supports refinement and sensory evolution on all levels. So when I'm talking about the removing of that which doesn't serve us, I'm definitely talking about the things we put inside of our bodies, but also the relationships in our life that don't serve us. Also, certain things that we might indulge in that might be pleasurable, but are separating us farther from Sat, the ultimate divine truth. So as Saturn and Ketu go into this nakshatra, get ready for this refinement and evolution of your Venus type vibration and where Venus rules in your chart, to have this strong evolutionary or refining, purifying sense. It will be removing that which doesn't serve. Now, this nakshatra also activates the full moral and ethical evolution of the native. Okay, so we're talking about, as Saturn and Ketu going into this energy, the full moral and ethical evolution, which means the guru within. Yes, there's the guru without, which means honoring all of our teachers, but there's also the greatest teacher within ourselves, which is our higher self, which is our divine self. I think this energy is supposed to evolve us into that person, into that entity. So that removes aspects of the character which could be considered immoral or irresponsible. So whatever parts of us are immoral or irresponsible, this transit is trying to remove them from you. It's trying to remove that irresponsible or immoral character. So that aligns us to our higher self. Now, a little bit about the specifics of the transit is Saturn remains direct in Purva Ashadha. It started on November 26th of last year, November 26, 2018. That's when Saturn first started to activate this Purva Ashadha nakshatra. But Shani is Kṣaṇāti, the slow mover. So it's just starting to accumulate some of its energy still. And by the way, Saturn remains direct in Purva Ashadha nakshatra until April 30th, 2019. So that's a direct, on April 30th, Saturn will go Vakri, will go retrograde at 26.24 Sagittarius. The interesting thing about this retrograde position is it's right before Purva Ashadha nakshatra is over. It's in the last little bit of the last pada of Purva Ashadha nakshatra. So Saturn's almost there. He's getting close. Kṣaṇāti namaha. Saturn is reeling it back in and going retrograde. And that's until September 19, Saturn in retrograde position, going retrograde in Purva Ashadha nakshatra. So that's very fascinating. So Ketu meets in Purva Ashadha. Ketu will join Purva Ashadha on May 8th.
The game begins.
Yes, and that's when the energy starts to climax. You can think of Ketu as the climaxer here, the one who's bringing all of the karma to fruition, to be burned in the sacrificial homa, to be burned in the sacrificial fire by Lord Agni. So Ketu remains, Ketu and Saturn, once Ketu enters Purva Ashadha May 8th, they will remain united in Purva Ashadha, basically within a degree each other until October 3rd. So that means that they're within a degree for many, many months, all over the course of the summer into the fall. They're still remaining and traveling together. So this is some of the tightest, longest lasting conjunction that I've ever seen. So Saturn leaves Purva Ashadha December 27th, 2019.
Finally.
So it's there almost the whole year. Ketu leaves Purva Ashadha on January 15th of next year. So the whole year is big lesson of Purva Ashadha nakshatra, this evolution, the removal of what does not serve us, this searching for higher truth. But sometimes the removal of what doesn't serve us means the removal of our attachments, or our dependencies, or the things which we've clinged the closest to, especially with Ketu as a moksha karaka coming in. So that means Saturn and Ketu are in Purva Ashadha together from May 8 to December 27. So 7 months, more than 7 months they're traveling together in this nakshatra. Two more things I just want to touch on. One of my favorite nakshatra authors is Shubhakaran. And Shubhakaran talks that Purva Ashadha is a Padadosha nakshatra. Padadosha nakshatra means depending on the pada could cause serious affliction. So this has to do with our family and ourselves. Now, when we're talking about the positive side of it, which is removing that which does not serve us. So the challenges that this family member might go through might be in the long run what's best for them for their spiritual evolution. But if they have this in the birth chart, or the transit is strong on them, it could be very difficult. The first pada of Purva Ashadha is influence the mother's health. The second pada of Purva Ashadha influence the father's health. The third pada of Purva Ashadha Nakshatra influence the uncle's health. And the fourth pada, the last pada, is the own health. And we talked about Saturn will be entering the fourth pada of the nakshatra at some point in, I have the date here, April 30. So maybe there will be some cold going around. Maybe there will be some flu going around because everyone's individual health is affected from the pada dosha nakshatra.
And immediately after entering, it is going retrograde also.
Yeah, so then the recovery from the cold, the recovery from the flu. So maybe there's a bug going around. So be careful during that time with the immune system. When Saturn is, or Ketu in the last pada of Purva Ashadha. Now, one last thing I want to say from a spiritual perspective, and then I would love to hear anything you would love to share, Bhabajeet. But I want to talk about Lord Varuna, because Lord Varuna is the ruling deity, and he gives a divine gift of Varcho Grahana Shakti. Varcho Grahana Shakti, which offers a restorative and a replenishing effect. It gives energy, it gives power, it gives enthusiasm, such as the satisfaction we might derive from drinking a glass of water. Shri Appa, Shri Deva. If you're very thirsty, then you have a glass of water, you are restored, you are replenished, you are ready to go. So it has this divine effect. So this allowed natives of Purva Ashadha Nakshatra, people who have certain strong positions in Purva Ashadha, are very passionate, enthusiastic individuals. And they also could be strongly opinionated. And that's not a good or a bad thing, but that's a Sagittarius Purva Ashadha vibration. But Lord Varuna offers this gift of replenishment, invigorating. So if this conjunction is very strong, in other words, we might have certain things in our lives that we enjoy them, that are holding us back. And we don't realize they're holding us back because we're just participating in this. So then because of this activation, you have to remove that which does not serve you. But that can be very painful. That can be very difficult. And it can be vata and pitta vitiating because of Saturn and Ketu.
Yes.
So we must drink from the water of Lord Appas. We must drink from the water of Lord Varuna. And this means to purify ourselves of all of our unethical, our darker shadow side, aligned to the guru within. And let us be replenished by the divine energy of God, from the divine energy of Lord Appas, Lord Varuna. May we be replenished so that we may be able to fulfill our dharma, so that we may be able to fulfill our spiritual evolution. May we receive that purification. So that's just something I feel about this Saturn K2 transit, and it's a very long transit. So it's definitely, I'm happy you asked me to talk about it. It's going to be very powerful, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, and I guess the most interesting part will happen when I think when because Ketu is always retrograde, but when Saturn is also retrograde, from April end to September, as you said, first week, I guess, or second week. So that will be the climax, I guess.
Yes, and I think this will be a time of great consequences for immoral actions. So if there are dishonesty, whether political, government, society, maybe those things will come to the light. Maybe those things will come to the truth, because through the energy of Purva Ashadha is to look for Sat, ultimate truth. And ultimate truth is honesty, or ultimate honesty. so Saturn, Ketu working their way through this nakshatra, I think makes us all become more honest. So the sooner that we can get honest, the sooner this will be good transit for us. But whatever little areas of our life we have secret, whatever little areas of our life we have hidden, this is a time for consequences of that, and for the darkness and the Maya and the illusion to come to light. And sometimes that can be a painful process, depending on how dark that secret is, or as they like to say, the skeleton in your closet.
And what is your opinion on like transits within the natal planet? So suppose like somebody has prominent planets there. So what is your opinion on transits? If you have seen, like these big planets transiting, I mean the slow ones
Yeah.
transiting over your natal planet. So what is your opinion on that?
So, are you, just to clarify, are you saying that people are having the return of the graha during this transit?
No, I'm saying suppose somebody has, Mercury or Sun, Moon, Venus in Purva Ashadha or Sagittarius.
Yes.
So in that context, I was saying, what
Yes.
what what is your opinion on that? Because now they are transiting over the natal planets.
Yeah. And it, depending on which house, that will have big influence too. But if it's on the ascendant, for example, that person's character is going to be greatly transformed during this period. And a character is personality. And a personality has strengths and a personality has weaknesses. So Shukra's influence over all of those planets is saying, okay, you have personality weaknesses. We all have personality weaknesses, but it's time for you to work on yours. Not talk about or criticize other people's weaknesses, but actually focus on and work on your own. So it's going to be depending on the planetary relationship between Saturn and Ketu in the natal chart. That willingness to kind of look at the self can be very challenging. But again, there is this opportunity for great prosperity. Many people, great historical people, have Purva Ashadha Nakshatra, both on the angel side and on the demon side.
Okay.
On angel side, we have lots of great leaders with Purva Nakshatra, but we also have dictators.
Yeah, Hitler also had his moon in Purva Ashadha, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yes.
Sun and Ashwini. So there is this position of the Purva Ashadha, the transit on the individual. It allows them to remove the things which are not helping them be successful. So let's say
Okay.
they have Sun, Mercury, Venus energy, but actually the ultimate aim of Purva Ashadha, which is connected with Jupiter, is moksha.
Yes.
But this is a different philosophical conversation. But before we can do moksha, we must fulfill our dharma. There is no moksha without dharma. So this is
Yes.
the Purva Ashadha people, that it can help you be a better version of yourself, so that you can now fulfill your dharma at a higher aptitude.
Yes, so we will do the part two of this, I think, in the next session. All right. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you very much. See you in part two. Okay.
Om Namah Shivaya. Okay.